Good morning and welcome. I'm Sandy. Before you move too far into your day, I invite you to spend just a few minutes here with me. We don't always get to choose what the day brings us, but we can choose how we meet it with curiosity instead of assumption, with courage instead of avoidance, and with presence instead of distraction. Take a slow breath in and gently let go. Feel the support beneath your feet. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Today, I invite you to consider a simple but challenging question. Where in my life do I tell myself that I have no choice? Today's intention is structured around habit. Sometimes our choices truly are limited, but other times, the idea that we have no choice really means I don't like the choices that I have. I can't control every circumstance and every person. But today's intention invites us to look honestly, not with shame, but with awareness at what has been quietly making our decisions for us. A habit, a fear, a desire, or an old story about who we are. These patterns often begin as choices, then become automatic, and then eventually we stop questioning them. And that's where they become habit. Yoga asks us to practice Svedhyaya, which is the concept of self-study. It's the practice of observing ourselves honestly. We notice our reactions, our habits, and the stories that we repeat without immediately trying to fix them. Because what remains unconscious continues to lead us. What becomes unconscious can finally be questioned. In yoga philosophy, the experience of observing things through the mind, right? The mind is a big part of the yoga practice. Our experiences aren't just shaped by the circumstances that are external, but our thought patterns through which we interpret them. When we change our awareness, we begin changing our relationship to once what seemed to control us. Take another slow breath in through your nose and bring to mind a place where you may feel stuck. Notice the words you choose around it. I can't. I have to. This always happens. Hold that thought gently and ask, is this completely true? What part of this situation is outside of my control, and what part of this situation still belongs to me? Perhaps you can't change the circumstances, but you may be able to change your response, your boundary, your next step, or the story you're telling yourself. And this is where freedom begins. Think of a habit that has more influence over you than you would like. Maybe it's reaching for your phone whenever you're uncomfortable, or avoiding an important conversation, or saying yes when you mean no, seeking approval before trusting yourself, and ask yourself, am I choosing this or is this choosing me? Fear deserves our attention as well. It protects us from genuine danger, which is necessary, but sometimes it continues speaking long after the danger's passed, and it begins to outserve its usefulness. It whispers, don't begin, don't speak, you might fail. Self-study doesn't ask us to silence fear. It asks us to listen without letting the fear make every decision. Yoga also reminds us to notice desire. There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort, wanting success, wanting approval or certainty. The problem begins when we believe we cannot be at peace without those things. This is where yoga offers non-attachment, which we've covered in the last couple meditation. It asks us to loosen our grip on whatever we believe we must control in order to be okay. Not because those things don't matter, but because our freedom can't depend on things outside of our control. Take another slow, deep breath in and come back to the words, I have no choice, and try replacing them with something more honest. I have choices, but they will be difficult. I've been choosing what feels familiar. I may need support. I can choose one small next step. These statements are not always easier, but they're often more empowering. Freedom rarely arrives through one dramatic decision. It begins with awareness. One habit interrupted, one honest conversation, one healthy boundary established, one different response. Imagine one chain becoming visible before you. Don't try to break it, just see it. Notice what it keeps in place. Notice what it gives you, and then notice what it costs you. My yoga teacher, she used to say, the circle of trust becomes the prison of trust, right? We create circumstances so that we never have to be uncomfortable or afraid, and we hold ourselves within that space. But then eventually that space begins to become a prison if we feel we can't leave it. What small act of freedom is available to you today? As you move into your day, carry this intention. Today, I will notice where I give away my power. I'll observe my habits, fears, and stories with honesty instead of judgment. I'll remember that awareness creates space, and within that space, choice begins to return. I will focus on one small act of freedom rather than demanding instant transformation. Remember, you may not get to choose everything this day brings your way, but you can choose how you meet it. Carry today's intention with you, not as something to accomplish, but as something you can return to whenever you need it. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. And until tomorrow, be well and meet your day with purpose. Namaste.